All right, guys, let me preface this profiling vid by just saying this is not a scientific study. We're just a couple of beer leaguers. We have no talent, and this is just for fun. It's just determining what we thought profiling steel, switching back and forth, and what I was able to determine while I was doing it. First of all, I was dealing with ankle arthritis symptoms, so we kept the drills very basic. I didn't want to push myself, but at the end of the day, it still worked, and I determined what kind of profile I was going to put on my new Hyperlight 2. So stick around to the end of the video, watch us go through the testing, and see what I determined my profile is, and hopefully it'll help you guys determine that you want to profile your skates too.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Guitar Slinger Hockey channel. I have got a fantastic video for y'all today. This is definitely my most anticipated video I've ever made with the channel, and I'm really excited to be announcing a collaboration effort between myself and this joker here from the Bear League Bum Hockey channel, Justin, if you don't know who he is. In fact, if you don't know who he is, go take a look at the description. Find out, take a look at the link, go to his channel. He's going to keep you all up to speed on the most modern top-end sticks and retail equipment out there, so give you an idea of how to really spend your money. Because as we all know, there is some good stuff, but most of it is like not awesome, unfortunately. So if you want to get the real lowdown on sticks and equipment, go check out his channel and you will not be disappointed. So in this video today, the collaboration effort that we decided to get together on, and it's been in the work for months now, and we finally made it happen here. By the time you're watching this video, we will have filmed up in British Columbia a video on the subject of profiling. Now, this idea came to me based upon somebody that I got to give some street credit to here. Buddy of mine by the name of Nick. Back in the day, Nick was gracious enough to let me try out a ton of different profiles to see what it did to my game, to see how it changed my skating. And in fact, the short answer is it changed my skating, it changed my game in a very positive way. And I was afforded the luxury of that just because he owned a pro shop. He had all the steel on hand. We wore the same size holder, and so I was able to go out and try out all these profiles, and it was just a lot of fun, and it was very eye-opening. And so I wanted to put together a video where we could actually talk about this kind of stuff, test it out on some folks that haven't been able to, who have never tried out different profiles. Maybe they don't even know what it is. So in this video, you'll see that we're going to do some on-ice testing with Justin and at least one other person, and we're going to see what happens, to see what kind of preferences they have, and we're going to go from there and see what happens. And I'm going to make some predictions as well, just for the fun of it. But anyways, let me get into the agenda, and I'll go over some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about here. Okay, before I get started going through the agenda, one of the things that I wanted to make note of is that it's going to be pretty important for you as you're watching this video, because of how long it'll probably be, to take a look at the timestamps in the description, just so you can kind of click ahead if you don't want to watch everything here, because I know, it's YouTube and not everybody has the time to go through these whole videos. But just make sure you take a look at the description box if you want to click through and see some specific content here.
What's going on, guys? Justin, aka Boomer, Beer League Bum Hockey Reviews, and we got a special one for you today. I'm with Guitar Slinger Hockey, Chris, and we're super stoked because we're doing a collab on a number of videos, and we're going to talk about profiling today. And I'm super stoked. We've got the whole rig to ourselves. We're going to test 4 different versions.
We're going to test 4 different profiles, yeah.
Awesome. Right. So I've never done profiling, so for me, I'm a little bit of a skeptic. So it's awesome that Chris is here with me today, because he's got all the Bladetech sponsor, and he's going to convince me if I'm going to keep my regular steel or we're going to go to a different one. So we're going to run some drills today.
So what do you think? Have you ever, what has been your experience of profiling before? Like,
Absolutely nothing.
absolutely nothing. So what do you say when you go to get your skate sharpened? If you go and buy a new pair of skates and you go over to the hockey shop or wherever you go, what is it you say you want done your blades? Sharpening or just like, what do you say?
Yeah, I just leave it 100%. So I'm just like, whatever it comes with, which I think the Bauer is what, 10 now?
It's probably around 10 if you're sizing each skate. Yeah, something like that range.
So I'm probably skating on old tech at this point.
So we're going to find out today whether profiles make a difference in makes him go from scoring. How many goals did you score pre-season?
I score a lot of goals.
Between 3 and 4 million, something like that. We're trying to get to a cool 5 million.
I won't post my stats because I get too many chirps.
Yeah, but we'll run through 2 different drills. The first drill here that we're going to do is going to kind of go over making sure he utilizes his full blade for each one of the profiles, and then we're going to test out a drill designed for agility to see if he still has the same feelings, and we'll find out if he has any kind of preference at the end here. We will also show a prediction that I put together to see what happens when he finishes the testing drill, to see if he does have a one that he likes the best. I will also go over some past results with other folks that I've tested. So
love it. For today. All right, we'll start with my regular skates, a couple drills, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, I'm going to get warmed up and run through this course that we have just to get used to it with my regular skates so I have a good feel. So I'll be able to give some feedback on the different profiles. Take it away, Chris.
First and foremost, I wanted to thank our 2 sponsors, Bladetech Hockey and Benny Skate Sharpening. Without Bladetech, we wouldn't have the steel to film this video, and without Benny, we wouldn't have the profiles applied to said steel. So I really appreciate both of those companies helping out. And just for a little background, I think most of you know that I have both of my hips replaced due to old hockey injuries and arthritis and all that good stuff. Bladetech has their Flex Force technology, which does take a little bit of pressure off of your hips, knees, and ankles, your joints, things like that. And then, of course, Benny, I've been using him for a while, getting different sharpenings. He does a fantastic job. So if you want to save your joints, consider Bladetech Hockey. If you want to have a great profile done and you live in the United States or Canada, go check out Benny. I will be sure to tell you how to get a hold of him, and also be sure to use my 15% off discount code of GSH Hockey, or excuse me, GSH15 to get 15% off of anything at Benny's. It includes Bladetech Steel. So be sure to check them out. I'll show a little something at the end here for you. Okay, so what is profiling? So first of all, I want to touch on the fact that profiling has probably some different names. So you might hear the word profiling, you might hear the word radius, you might hear the word contour, and you might even hear the word rocker. I think if you were to go and throw out those terms to anybody who does profiling of steel, they'd probably know what you're talking about. But for the purposes of this video, we want to use the term profiling. We're profiling the steel. And so Bladetech defines that as the shape of an ice skate blade where it makes contact with the ice viewing from the side. So we're talking about the geometry of the steel, about creating more or less steel touching the ice at any given time. And so what we're looking at on the page are 2 of the 2 screenshots from Benny's website that show some different types of profiling. So if we look at the ProSharp one on the left, we're seeing that there's 2 colored areas which look at, or it's basically speaking to dual profiles. Then we have something called an agility profile, which, you know, I'll argue a different definition in the future about that possibly, but we're talking about 3 different profiles rolled into one. And power profiles are defined with like 4 different portions of the ice. So that's basically your quad 0 would have 4 different profiles in it, which falls under that power profile. And then the dynamic one, that's going to be something like an ellipse 0. I'm not going to really go into too much detail about that one in this video, but that's basically what it is, and you can look into that and Google it if you want. The one on the right is regarding the CAG profiles. Now, the CAG profile is not something that you see very often in local shops, but it is an extremely common profile in the NHL. My local team, that's primarily the profile that they use. I've used it for a while myself, but that kind of gives you an idea of which part of the steel is touching the ice and how they alter the balance points on it. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is pitch. You have basically two choices regarding pitch. You can be somebody that likes a neutral stance on the ice or somebody who likes a forward pitch. I think most people seem to like forward pitches on their skates, but they may not know how to ask for that. And just because you ask for a forward pitch doesn't mean you're asking for a profile. And just because you're asking for a profile doesn't mean you're also getting a forward pitch. Sometimes you have to ask for a profile plus a forward pitch, or a profile plus a neutral stance. So there's a lot of stuff that can be kind of confusing. And so hopefully within this video, we'll tell you how to make sure you know what you're asking for, and it'll give you a little bit of insight. And also, you'll see when we do the testing that folks are going to have a certain preference. And the great thing about profiling is that you don't actually have to have really any experience with it. All you have to do is skate on it and say, yeah, I like this, or no, I don't like it, or I can't tell the difference. So there's really no right or wrong answer with this. But I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that just because you're getting a profile doesn't mean that you're also getting a forward pitch. It's something that you have to ask for specifically. So just wanted to say that. So that's in a nutshell what profiling is, and of course you can go and Google to your heart's content about looking for more information about it. But that'll get you all started. Regarding the profiles that we tested, these are in no particular order as to not provide any spoilers to anybody, but they are the Quad Zero with the 6 foot, 9 foot, 11 foot, and 13 foot radius on the steel. We have the Superior Medium, which is our tri profile with the 6 foot, 13 foot, and 20 foot radius. We have the 9/10 Combi, which is our dual, one has the 9 foot and a 10 foot on it. And then finally our CAG 1 profile. Now, what I will note about the CAG profiles is that we have two different CAG 1 profiles, one for the CCM and one for the Bauer holders. And the reason for this is because of some potential differences between the holders. We wanted to make sure that they felt the same when you skated on them. So the 3550 for the CCM and a 30/60 for the Bauer feel the same when you skate on them. And I can tell you that as somebody who has skated on both of those, and we've tested that out. In fact, that speaks to some potential differences between CCM and Bauer holders, which I did do a video on, even though it was very unscientific. I did find out after the fact, as a side note, that there is a rigidity difference between the Bauer holders and the CCM. Specifically, Bauer holders are stiffer than CCM holders. But anyways, that's for a different topic. So anyways, these are the profiles in no particular order.
So after I got warmed up on just the first profile after skating on mine, I did notice a significant difference right away. So it's actually something that I wanted to touch on. Is the reason I was so skeptical is I thought that I'd be going and testing a profile and really not either notice anything, or it would be too extreme to the point that I couldn't actually skate on it. And I was pleasantly surprised that the small tweak a profile actually had, and this was only the first one, I was just messing around, just kind of getting a feel for the change, especially the sharpening, because I use a pretty sharp sharpening and hollow, and these are 5/8 now. Mine is usually 7/16. So I was just getting kind of used to it, but I was particularly surprised that going to a profile was not extreme at all, and it actually felt like a very nice tweak to the point that it was actually really positive. So as we get into the testing process, just something I kind of wanted to touch on before we actually get into the video of testing.
Okay, for the testing process, I will apologize in advance. I know there's a lot of words on this page for a YouTube video, but I think it's important to note how the process, so you guys can tell how you can test this on your own. So the first thing we did was skater will test 4 profiles in addition to whatever they're currently using. The radius of hollow, or basically the sharpening for all sets of steel, is 5/8 of an inch. And 4 sets of steel are for the Bauer Tuque Edge holder in a size 272. 4 sets of steel are for the CCM XS holder in a 271. If you're looking at why there's one that's 272 versus 271, that's actually the same size holder, just two different manufacturers. For step 5, we tested profiles. Will be kept secret until testing is complete. We don't want any bias from anybody in there. I'm not even going to let Justin see the profiles so he can test them in an unbiased manner. Skaters will warm up using their own steel prior to the start of testing. We're going to go through 2 drills, which I'm going to share with all of you in the next couple of slides here. Drill 1 is intended on utilizing the entirety of the blade. And then drill number 2 is going to be able to test the agility of the blade. And skater will only test their own steel after they tested all profiles first. What I've noticed is that people tend to if they use their own steel first, they kind of forget what everything feels like. But if they use their own steel last, it's pretty fresh in their mind how the profiles felt compared to what they're currently using. So that's why we do it specifically in that order. The other thing is kind of going back to the 2 drills. If we don't set up 2 drills, basically what people will do if we just let them go skating around, they'll just skate around and look at their feet, and they'll kind of skate some more, then kind of just pick up their feet and look at it. So we need to put 2 drills together that'll kind of help utilize the blades and all that good stuff. So that's the reason why we're using that. And then skipping to step 9, the skater is going to provide the feedback at the end. So they're going to say which which profile they liked, and then we will reveal that to them and take any kind of feedback and catch any final thoughts on it. So that's the testing process. So let's get into what the tests look like. Okay, so for drill number 1, as I mentioned, this one will utilize the entirety of the blade. So if you look at the green star on the blue line there, that's the starting point. So basically what the skater will do is they're going to do a dynamic V-start, start skating forward, pivot at the cone, as noted by the orange ghetto triangle thingies, skate backwards, get to the top of the circle, they're going to pivot, do some wide turns and some power crossovers into the point where they do a full stride all the way back through the neutral zone and back through to kind of the area where they started at their blue line. So that one should give a good idea of how the entirety of the blade feels. Let's get into drill number 2. For the second drill, I'm guessing that probably some of you have seen this one before, but the green star on the blue line is where we're going to be starting for this one. So they're going to do a dynamic start as they did in the first drill, aka the V start. They're going to shoot down to that left side cone, skating forward. They're going to do backwards strides to the top of the red circle. They're going to skate down to the cone near the goal line, skate backwards, and then they're going to skate forward to the cone that's in the slot area, skate backwards once again. They're going to then pivot and do power crossovers throughout the bottom of the circle around the goal line and up through full strides through the neutral zone, similar as to the first drill. This one will be an interesting test to see if they feel the same way about their profile that they liked in the first drill compared to this one. So we'll see how that all shakes out at the end. But those are our 2 drills. So this first profile that he's going to test out is profile number 1, and we'll tell you what that is later.
So right away I can tell I'm on a different style of profile than my own, which is good. So it just shows that those little tweaks do make a difference. As we change out the steel here for profile number 2, it was very noticeable that as I switched in and out of the profiles that something was changing. So I kind of got rid of my skepticism right away, which was good. It just took me some time to figure out what I was liking, but I will tell you that as you go from each profile to another, I know there's a ton more that you can try. It's a massive difference, and when you find the one, it really, really helps your skating. Interesting thing being you just become more confident in the type of skating that you're doing. You know, as an untrained skater that just learned as an adult, it's weird how switching just a profile made me more comfortable on my skates. So in between takes, I started kind of skating around and just shooting and being a little bit more casual with each profile, just because, it does change your shooting and, how you're stable on your actual blades as you get used to each profile. So, my stopping was a little bit different. My shooting was a little bit different. So I think that's where in the end I kind of came to the conclusion of what profile I liked, because everything from skating, stopping, crossovers to shooting just felt a little bit more natural and easier for some reason. So very interesting how this is kind of progressing now. Profile 3, which is going to be on the screen in a second, was kind of the only one that I struggled with, that I didn't like at all. And I was getting a lot of chattering and wobbliness in my stops and things. So very interesting. But that was the only one I really didn't like that much.
Definitely much different. So this is profile number 3 that we're looking at now. Yeah. So what would you do if I told you all steel is the same? There's no difference.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Then I'd be like fucking what's his face.
This is definitely the Trigger 7, and they're both the Trigger 7. That's
Profile 3, yeah, sorry. So this one had more wobble, but we'll see how it
Now
changes.
you're talking about laterally?
Yeah, like I just feel like I get
Okay.
a little bit.
Noted.
Just see that I'm a terrible skater.
So that one was a much smoother stop.
Was it? Yeah.
There was no chatter on the ice.
The third profile that we tested, the Quad Zero, I didn't like, and it's actually a pretty popular one. I was getting a lot of wobble, and my stopping was not very confident, even though Chris did point out that I didn't shatter as much. It was just kind of a weird wobble, and again, these things are just subjective, so it's all about finding what kind of works for you. This one just didn't work for me.
There you go.
Definitely don't like 3 as much.
Not a 3 kind of guy, huh?
Yeah, it's wobbly, and I feel like my stopping, not all the blade is on the ice.
Okay. Yep.
Alrighty.
Good thing I'm going to give you all a description of this stuff when we're done.
I guess so. So it's like,
So it looks fast?
it looks fast, yeah.
Oh, number 4. Oh boy.
Oh god.
Oh boy. All right, we're going to try the 4th and final profile here. You feel pretty good in those?
Yeah.
Okay, so profile number 4. So, so you tried everything besides your own steel in this drill. So, if you had to rate them right now for this particular drill, profiles 1 through 4, what would you say?
4 definitely feels the best, and the other 3, I can notice differences, but I don't want to say they're positive differences. So
Okay.
But let's run the other drills again. Our new drill. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so let's run this last one with your original steel, and then we'll switch the drills.
Sounds good.
I kind of had a feeling just the time it takes to like switch all this stuff out. Well, okay, hold on a second. You haven't even run the drill yet. What are you feeling?
Yeah, like obviously my sharpening is much sharper. I got used to those pretty quick.
Yeah.
But these definitely feel flat. And It's like I'm wearing speed skater skates now or something.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Word. All right. Give it a rip. See what happens. And if I didn't mention before, he's using his normal steel. You know what I'll say? There's a lot more noise, just general noises coming from you when you're using your normal steel.
I guess so. Eh?
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, fuck. I mean, something. Swear there, so I'll do that. Yeah, there's definitely something there for sure.
Okay.
Now that you've used them, they just feel heavy almost.
So your current steel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just feel. Yeah, I will say less agile.
Less agile. Okay. How'd you feel on the straight line speed in your standard steel?
I'm more comfortable turning, obviously, with my sharpening and crossovers.
Okay.
I was conservative with the other profiles because of the sharpening.
Yeah.
And a little bit, but that's probably something I can get used to.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because I could tell that your steel was making more noise on the ice with your current sharpening, or at least the current steel that you have in there. I don't know if that's the actual steel itself, but something I could hear. But okay.
All right.
There we go.
Let's run through a new drill.
All right.
Go through again.
All right, so for this next drill, this is going to test his agility, and he's using his standard steel, the unprofiled box steel, so to speak. Okay, Al's right.
That's sharp. That's hard to stop. So, I mean, if you've even made it this far, I basically started to settle on the KEG 1 profile, and I didn't really like the quad. Now, we'll just montage the next drill because this video is already long enough. But at the end of the day, doing the back-to-back drills with all four and then my own steel really had a blast just trying to figure it out. So here's the last drill. We'll just montage it and then we'll get into the final thoughts on what I thought about profiles.
I won't stop, I'm here to get what I want. I'm not lost, I'm here to make it to the top. I'll take a shot, I'll overpower any boss. Cause I am not
Let's
someone
go.
that you would wanna cross.
I move quietly, like a shadow, there's a dark side to me. I work privately to go build and create my own dynasty. A new rivalry, it emerges ever so silently. But I got fight in me, so I'll squash anything that's trying me. I'm like, me versus you, I hope that you know what you're getting into. I got nothing to lose, so you better watch out, can't predict my moves. I'll make you irrelevant, I don't stop till I'm at the top settling. I live here like a local resident, and you know I ain't selling it.
I won't stop, I'm here to get what I want. I'm not lost, I'm here to make it to the top. I'll take a shot, I'll overpower any boss. Cause I am not someone that you would wanna cross. I won't stop, I'm here to get what I want. I'm not lost, I'm here to make it to the top. I'll take a shot, I'll overpower any boss. Cause I am not someone that you would wanna cross. I won't stop, I'm here to get what I want. I'm not lost, I'm here to make it to the top. I'll take a shot, I'll overpower any boss. Cause I am not someone that you would wanna cross.
Round two, I gotta screw loose. I'll work all night if it's what I gotta do. Who needs sleep when the caffeine's brewed? I don't fatigue, I just have to move. I don't work with others, they just slow me down and my progress suffers. It's not you, it's me, but really I just work much better when I'm free. I don't do things for the hell of it, I do things that I do for the benefit. I make moves that'll make me relevant. I've been telling them, you just gotta work hard, play hard, punch that race card, move fast, take charge, do that, make art, move past fake cards, lose that hate card, and never give up when the gun goes, race starts.
That's everything. So I think it might be time to reveal my predictions on what I thought Justin would like. aka Boomer, and you're a beer league hobo. Is that what you are?
Something.
Riding the open rails. Okay.
I was called Beer League Baby the other day. Shout out to Pandemic Panthers.
That's pretty good. Okay, so this was my predictions of what Justin would like. So we're gonna open it up, and Justin,
Yeah,
you are the father. Oh,
that's a boy.
let's see. I can hardly get this thing open. All right, so I said that you were going to prefer profile number 1 would be your first choice,
Interesting.
followed by second choice would be a profile number 2.
Okay.
And I guess I should read out what these are. So profile number 1 is the Quad Zero. I thought that was going to be your first choice.
Interesting.
And Quad Zero was not profile number 1.
Oh.
Quad Zero, so I thought you were going to be a Quad Zero guy. And I thought your second choice would be a dual profile, a 910. Then I thought your third choice would be your own steel. Fourth choice would be a CAG 1. And fifth choice, last choice that you wouldn't even like, would be a Superior.
Okay.
And so just so we're clear, the number 1 profile is a 9/10 dual profile.
Okay.
Profile number 2 was the Superior. Profile number 3 was a Quad 1 or Quad Zero.
Okay.
And number 4 was a CAG 1. So
Okay.
you said that you like the number 4 the best, which is a quad, which is the Quad Zero, which is the most common profile in the NHL.
Oh, interesting. I can see why.
Yep. And that really surprises me too, because so the deal with why you thought it was probably the most similar is because a CAG 1, and I'm probably going to get some hate in the comments for not describing this properly.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a 10-foot radius with a flat spot in it.
Oh,
and then
okay.
they kind of shift around the balance points on it, so you know whether it's like neutral or pitched forward. And so in your particular case, you were actually using a CAG 1 with a 30/60, and it was a neutral pitch. So there's no forward pitch on it at all.
Yeah, so that's
And then
interesting.
You said that you liked the
2 and 4 are kind of the ones I settled on.
Okay, so number 2, I'm not used to anybody liking that one.
Really?
That's the Superior. I use a Superior.
Oh, okay.
And I've used that one for a really long time. And so what I thought was pretty interesting, I kind of called that as being your least favorite one.
Weird.
Because it's not really known to be like an agility profile.
Huh.
It's got like a really long blade and a really shaved off toe on it. So past testing results, so of the people that I tested out, 3 people really liked the Quad Zero, 1 liked the 910, 1 liked the CAG Zero, CAG 1, 1 liked the having no profile at all, and then 1 person liked the Superior, which was this guy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. So you appear to be a CAG 1 or a Superior guy.
Interesting.
And you're using, which one do you have on right now?
I have a Pulse TI with, I guess, the stock Bauer
Yeah,
radius.
which is probably a 10-foot
I think so, yeah.
radius with no forward pitch at all in it. So,
Nothing. Very interesting.
So what did you think about? You used the 7/16 sharpening,
Yeah.
and all the steel was sharpened at 5/8, which is a pretty big leap. So did you feel like you had enough bite with the ice, or would you have gotten it?
I got used to the duller sharpening, and to be honest, I might probably downgrade 1 now. From
Okay,
that.
so you might back it down. to
Yeah,
half
and
inch.
come right in between. I think the 2, from being super sharp to more dull to kind of right in the middle.
Because you didn't look like you were losing your edges at all.
No, it didn't take me long at all to kind of settle back in. So yeah, between sharpenings and the different profiles, man, is it ever subjective? But I know I didn't like 3. I felt like I was wobbling for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's probably just my skating style or lack of training as a kid.
And the Quad Zero is a really interesting one. So I noticed that I really liked the Quad Zero, like doing a kind of lower level drop-ins, pickup games. But when I went and started playing in my like higher level stuff, for some reason the stability wasn't there. They just weren't fast enough. And so I went back to the Superior, which has, like I said, a lot of the toe is shaved off.
Yeah,
on
interesting.
it, which allows you to get on your toes to get going. But then it requires you to really push with your arches and your heels. And there's also a lot of heel there for stability as well. So you can really get that straight line speed, which is what I used it for as a linesman.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So there we go. What do you
Cool.
think? Any final comments from you?
I guess to summarize, I'm going to drop my sharpening because I use the 7/16 right now. It's pretty sharp. Switching to these, which one again?
You're using, so the one that you seem to like the most was profile number 4, which is a CAG 1.
Okay,
It's
and
a
what was the
30/60,
sharpening?
And it's 5/8 is the sharpening on
Okay,
it.
so I'll probably go up one of that
So
just to
half
get
inch, maybe.
a little bit more glide, and then I'll go to the CAG 1, and then go with that probably on the Hyperlight 2 skate coming up soon.
Ooh.
We'll completely change skates. It should be good. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this wasn't too long, but it was a blast, and I want to thank Chris from Guitar Slinger Hockey for coming out and getting the Bladetech sponsor. And it was really no way I could do this without his help. So make sure you like and subscribe to his channel. I'll link it below, and both of these will be on both our channels. So thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
Thanks. Yeah.